Howdy folks, I do hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Warships with Rear Admiral Jingles, where today we're taking it down to, well, technically Tier 5. But the star of today's show, Callie and Kay, is in the Tier 4 Royal Navy destroyer HMS Wakeful. HMS Wakeful was a First World War design, actually quite advanced by the standards of the First World War. She was built by the John Brown and Company shipworks up on the River Clyde in Glasgow, laid down on the 17th of January 1917, launched on the 6th of October, completed on the 16th of November the same year, at which point she was assigned to the Grand Fleet for the remainder of World War I, and survived up until the opening years of World War II, where she was taking part in Operation Dynamo, the evacuation of troops from Dunkirk, and had taken on board 640 Allied troops on the 28th of May 1940, but was torpedoed by the German E-boat S-30, hit by 2 torpedoes, with extremely heavy casualties, only 3 of the 640 Allied troops, Sapper Michael Fraser of the Royal Engineers, Mr. Stanley Patrick of the Royal Army Service Corps, and Mr. H.F.R. Ruddle of the Royal Army Service Corps, plus 25 of Wakeful's crew survived. A number of ships stopped to pick up the survivors. One of these, the destroyer HMS Grafton, was then in turn sunk by a German U-boat. The ship's crest and footplate were recovered and are now placed in the National Museum of the Royal Navy. So, Cal here, playing HMS Wakeful. Tier 4 destroyer, Tier 5 battle. And you can have a lot of fun in Tier 4 ships like this, mostly because of the matchmaking. Tier 4 is the last tier in the game where you get protected matchmaking and only have to fight ships at best 1 tier higher than you. Once you get to Tier 5, all bets are off and you're playing in the big boy leagues, which is the primary reason why playing Tier 5 light cruisers in particular is such an utter nightmare, because when you have no armour and you're basically made out of citadels, getting shot at by Nagatos and Scharnhorsts is not fun. That's not going to be such a problem for the Tier 5 light cruisers in this battle, however, because there are only 3 battleships per side and they're all Tier 5. Well, they're not all Tier 5, sorry. Cal's team have a Kaiser, the enemy team have a Miyogi, which is even better news for the Tier 5 light cruisers on both teams. The Tier 4 light cruisers in this game, however, are all bots. It's not unusual to see bots making up the numbers in the lower tier battles, although there are only 3 on each side in this game. It's not quite as prevalent as it is down at Tier 3 or Tier 2. I do believe he managed to get a torpedo hit on the Janwei, who's run off into that smoke screen. The Janwei, of course, a Pan-Asian destroyer with deep water torpedoes that cannot hit destroyers, so Cal doesn't have to worry about any torpedoes heading in the opposite direction. Now, while Cal is still jockeying for dominance up here in Cap Circle Alpha in the north, I want you to pay attention to what's happening down in Cap Circle Charlie down to the south, because this is the straight map where both teams are split, north and south. Almost Cal's entire team have abandoned that cap circle down to the south, with just 2 extremely overconfident Tier 4 light cruiser bots and 1, probably, if he has any sense, extremely nervous Congo player, although he's probably not looking at his minimap and he probably doesn't realise he's about to be completely alone down there, the only ones contesting Cap Circle Charlie. Now, because this is the straight map, because both teams do start split 50-50 between the northern and southern ends of the map, it's not a terrible idea to give up control of one end of the map in order to concentrate your firepower elsewhere. Because in theory, if you abandon Charlie, then you should have overwhelming weight of numbers and firepower, which would make it a cakewalk to take Bravo in the middle of the map and Alpha up at the northern end of the map. So you can smash everything up here, take the 2 northern caps, well, the 1 central and the 1 northern cap, and then muster your remaining firepower on the dregs of the enemy team heading up from the south. In theory. But we all know that's not going to happen. No, what's far more likely to happen is that the 10 friendly ships up at this end of the map are going to get fought to a standstill by the 5 enemy ships up at this end of the map, and end up getting caught in a crossfire when the victorious enemy ships to the south begin heading north. Or to put it another way, Cal's going to have to strap his carry pants on for this one. And he's going to start by flipping this northern cap, and then seeing if he can do anything about that Janwei that is almost certainly still tucked into hiding behind that island. He's taken the cap, but if the Janwei is still hiding in that smoke screen, let's just say he's not going to have long to regret it, because remember, he's taken a torpedo And his torpedoes are ineffective against destroyers. They're deep water torpedoes. They travel too deep to hit a destroyer. Cal here is on full health. The Janway is not. He's taken one torpedo hit. And while Cal's guns aren't fantastic, these 102mm guns are okay, but they do have a kind of slow reload. With the amount of health of that Janway's probably on, Cal's probably not going to need to hit him more than once. There he is. Yep, here it comes. Got him. Cal is, of course, spotted because he fired his guns. All three of those enemy ships can see him, but oh look, there's a very, very convenient smoke screen already here. Cal doesn't have to use any of his own. Down at the south, the two Tier 4 light cruiser bots have both been slaughtered. We've just lost a destroyer in the central cap. The player Congo down at the south is now all on his own and has no choice but to give broadside to 5 enemy ships in an attempt to escape to the north, so he's probably not going to survive for much longer either. The friendly USS New York down to the south managed to get to within name-calling distance of a V-170 destroyer and a Derflinger battlecruiser. Not a fantastic idea. He's paid the price. The enemy team are now flipping both the southern cap at Charlie and the central cap at Bravo. They have double the point score of Cal's team. And if they get control of those two caps, and frankly at this point I can't really see why they wouldn't, that point situation is going to get a lot worse before it gets a lot better. Cal lands a torpedo on the enemy Omaha, who, let's not forget, has his own torpedoes which have a 5.5 kilometre range, which probably explains why he's turning to give broadside like this, in order to get his own torpedoes into this torpedo magnet of a smokescreen. I wonder if 102mm armour piercing can do something about this. It is, after all, yes, of course it can. A Tier 5 light cruiser, it has no armour, and it's made out of citadels. Probably did manage to get his torpedoes away, however. So it wouldn't be a good idea to be loitering around waiting for them to turn up. Oh, and as he's vacating the smokescreen, both the Chungking and the Congo on Cal's team have just managed to get a kill each. But don't worry, that's the last time that sort of thing is going to happen in this particular battle. Haven't really talked much about the Wakeful itself yet in this video. I mean, it's alright, but it's definitely not a great destroyer. It gets the job done. The guns are only 102mm, but, well, that's fairly standard for Tier 4 destroyers, usually, obviously with exceptions. They have a kind of slow reload though, 5 seconds. She can't stealth torpedo unless she's hiding in smoke or lurking around the corner of an island and somebody gets stupidly close. The torpedoes only have a range of 6 km, her base surface detection range is 6.48 km. And they're very slow torpedoes as well, with a speed of 53 knots, although the reload is pretty good. And of course, because she's British, she can ripple fire, or launch them one at a time. He's gotten close enough to be detected by the Königsberg, so there's no harm in shooting. His position's already been given away, and because this is of course a Tier 5 light cruiser, he's loaded the armour piercing. And while he missed with the first salvo, not entirely sure how, he definitely didn't miss with the second, or the third. Tier 5 light cruisers, kids! No armour, made out of citadels, and oh shit, actually that's not good. There's the Derflinger, slams on the brakes, pops the smoke, and his torpedoes are ready to go. The other issue with these torpedo launchers, of course, is that only one of them really has good firing arcs. The midships launcher, it has 2, both of them fire 3 torpedoes. The firing arcs are a lot worse. Now, all is going to depend, and yeah, I mean, there was an oh shit moment there for Cal when he spotted the Derflinger. There was an oh shit moment for the Derflinger when he spotted Cal. And the Derflinger's reactions are good. He only took 1 torpedo. It did, however, cause a flood. And the flood is ticking, so he's not damage controlling a single dot. Huh. This guy might know a thing or two. Cal lighting him up with a high explosive, trying to force a second damage over time effect and make him use his damage control, and where the hell is the V-170 doing? What is that? Why is he reversing under engine boost outside of his smokescreen? Well, the V-170 isn't his biggest problem at the moment because there's an Emile Bertin closing in and hosing him down with 6-inch gunfire. And he's almost certainly also launched torpedoes. In fact, yep, here they come. Ooh, this is... no, we should be good. The Emile Bertin, however, isn't going to be a problem for much longer, because British destroyers have short duration but extremely quick cooldown smokescreen generators, and although the Emile Bertin is going to get close enough to see him once he gets within 2 kilometres, he's not going to survive those torpedoes, so he's not going to stay spotted for long.
Enemy cruiser destroyed.
If he wants to get vision of that V-170 again, he's going to have to poke his nose out of his own smokescreen. As long as the midship section of the ship is outside of the smoke, you can see outside of the smoke. Didn't see the V-170 though, but it looked like, yeah, here come his torpedoes. And it also looked like the V-170 smokescreen was dissipating. So, but there's a lot of that about. Cal's own smoke, because it's British, has a very fast cooldown, but also a very short duration. And there's the V-170, who for some reason doesn't have any of his guns pointing in this direction. I'm not sure why. I don't know exactly where else he was expecting Cal to be, given that he just sent torpedoes in this direction, but hey, whatever, we'll take it. Picks up the Confederate along the way, and is still spotted, of course, and the Derflinger's coming back, and he is within spotting range. Torpedoes away, the De Ruyter is shooting at him, but it's a bot. I'm sure he'd much rather take his chances with the De Ruyter than with a Derflinger at that kind of range, and while I'm also sure he would love to stay inside this cap circle, he can't afford to. He needs to break line of sight on the Derflinger, which means getting that island between himself and the German battlecruiser, and that takes care of both of his problems. The De Ruyter can't see him anymore, and, well, he does have 1 charge of smoke left. He's going to wait and see what happens to those torpedoes, rather than risk it for a biscuit. Those do look pretty good. 1, 2, 2. And there is a flood. And I'm pretty sure the Derflinger's damage control is going to be on cooldown from the last torpedo hit, so that is probably going to be a kill unless he has a heel left. And does he? No, he doesn't, and that's the Kraken Unleashed. Right. With the De Ruyter comfortably, for the moment, out of spotting range, you can slip back into this cap circle. And there's not that much difference between the two teams. So if you can take this cap, and, you know, everybody else on the team can just stop dying, they've got this game in the bag. Although asking these guys to stop dying is a pretty big ask. I mean, there were 10 of them attacking the 5 enemies to the north, and 2 of those 5 enemies are still alive, and only 3 of those 10 friendlies are. Although 2 of them are Omahas. There it goes. So now only 2 of those friendlies are still alive. And the Chungking over there, who popped his nose out in front of a Miyogi in order to try to get his torpedoes away, well, he's gotten his torpedoes away. And they're all going to miss from a range of about 4 kilometres. Speaking of torpedoes, yep, Cal's torpedoes missed the De Ruyter, who is now inside spotting range. But, well, it is just a bot, and he does have 1 charge of smoke remaining. And his torpedoes are about to come back off cooldown. And the De Ruyter is definitely inside torpedo range now. Although it helps if you can, you know, see him. He's going to have to risk poking his nose out of smoke again. Although he's on the wrong side of the smoke screen, it's still shielding the De Ruyter. And the Miyogi is in hot pursuit of... oh no. Well, the Miyogi just appeared. The Chungking has died, but perhaps he can finish off the De Ruyter. He's going to have to switch to the armour piercing. There's only a couple of seconds left on the smoke, and it's his last charge. He's going to have to start moving, try to dodge the incoming fire. He switched to the armour piercing. Shots out. Lost sight of the De Ruyter for a moment. His torpedoes are looking pretty good though. I mean, 53 knots isn't fast, but the De Ruyter isn't exactly moving at full speed either. Oh, and there's the citadels we needed. He is going to have to finish them off with the guns. The torpedoes are going to miss. And there it is. Kill number 6. Unfortunately, with the way things are going, he's going to need 9 kills in order to have a hope of winning this. And I mean, Cal's done well, but I think that's asking just a little bit too much. 10 seconds before his torpedoes are back up, and he's going to need the torpedoes to kill the Miyogi, but don't think he's going... no, there it goes. Oh well, never mind. Which means that all of our hopes and fears now rest on the shoulders of this guy. Who, remember, between him and 9 other teammates, couldn't finish off more than 3 of the 5 enemy ships that were at this end of the map at the beginning of the match. To be fair, he is in an Omaha, and he's done remarkably well to survive this far. But I think we're asking a little bit too much to expect him to carry things any further. So, 6 kills, 102,000 damage, Kraken Unleashed and Confederate for Callian K in the British Tier 4 destroyer HMS Wakeful in a Tier 5 battle. And it just wasn't quite good enough, was it? Never mind, Cal. Maybe next time. Yeah, probably not. Oh well. That's it for today, folks. Hope you enjoyed it, and as always, take care, stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.